We focus on Bible prophecy each week, calling it a prophecy update for lack of a better term. We are considered futurists. That's because we interpret the unfulfilled prophetic portions of the Bible as future events in a literal, physical, apocalyptic, global context. In his prophetic sermon that we call the Olivet Discourse, Jesus said the end times would be like the days of Noah. And then he specifically referenced the strange marriages that were taking place in the days of Noah. If you go back to Genesis chapter 6, we're told that certain fallen angels were marrying human women and mating with them, and their offspring were called Nephilim. They were a race of giants. The Old Testament talks about giants in many places. For example, the 10 Israelite spies reported there were giants in the Promised Land, and they were so big, they said, that they made the spies seem like grasshoppers in comparison. It was their fear of these Nephilim that caused them to stay out of the Promised Land, to refuse to enter into the Promised Land, and to end up spending 40 years in the wilderness. Now, these giants were not just tall men. At least one of them is described as being 15 feet tall. And this isn't what we sometimes call giantism. Humans who suffer from giantism tend to be slow, clumsy, uncoordinated, and they die relatively young. The giants in the Bible were fierce, agile warriors. I have to add something even grosser, sadly. Extra-biblical literature reports that these fallen angels also mated with animals. It was a terrible time. It was mainly on account of the corruption of human DNA that God sent the global flood. He spared Noah and company because he said, and I quote, "They were righteous in their generations." And one of the things that can mean is that they had uncorrupted human DNA that would be able to restore the human race. We should therefore expect tampering with human DNA to become more popular and weirder as the end times progress. I read an article this week, first part human, part monkey embryo created by scientists sparks outcry. Here's some excerpts from the article. Researchers have grown human stem cells in monkey embryos to try and better understand how the cells communicate. Some people are totally against this kind of experimentation and think it could lead the way to human, non-human creatures. The controversial embryos were made at the Salk Institute in California. Scientifically, they're known as monkey-human chimeras. One of the professors, Professor Belmont, led the research. He also worked on the first human-pig hybrid in 2017, so animal hybrids are his thing. According to the BBC, Professor Julian Savulescu, director of an Oxford Center for Practical Ethics, said the experiment, quote, opens Pandora's box to human, non-human chimeras. He said, these embryos were destroyed at 20 days of development. It is only a matter of time before non-human human chimeras are successfully developed. And so I always think that things are farther along than they actually report, but these guys see no problem coming up with a human monkey chimera. We always think in the movies it's going to be a smart monkey, but it's liable to just be a dumb human. But it's disgusting when you think about it, and it's a manipulation of human DNA that we are capable of doing in the laboratory, but it's similar to what was taking place in the days of Noah. And so I say it's Noahic. When Jesus said, as it was in the days of Noah, it wasn't that people were marrying and giving in marriage. They were having these particular kinds of marriages, angel-human marriages that were producing horrible offspring, and we're messing with DNA again. Now, we believe the resurrection and rapture of the church are imminent. Could happen any moment. Nothing needs to happen before it happens. And it's definitely going to happen before the Great Tribulation. Jesus will return in the clouds. He will raise the dead in Christ. He will transform the bodies of living believers to glorified resurrection bodies. We will join him in heaven while the earth endures one final 7-year campaign of severe evangelism. Are you ready for the rapture? If not, get ready and stay ready. Keep looking up. Ready or not, Jesus is coming.